Was working in a building across the street from today's attack when she heard what she thought sounded like gunshots from an automatic weapon. Just a short time later, she would find herself providing refuge for some of the folks who managed to escape as they explained to her the horrors they had just witnessed moments before. Sandy Wood is the executive director of the Inland Empire Lighthouse for the Blind. She joins us now by phone. Sandy, thank you very much for being here. So what was the first sign you had that something had gone wrong?
Megyn, I believe it was about 10 minutes to 11 or 10 minutes after 11 when I heard the gunshots ring out. It was a loud noise. I immediately moved away from my windows. I'm on the second floor, my office is, and I went to the back of my desk and called 911 to report I was hearing shots fired. At that same moment, one of my employees started running up the stairs saying, "Sandy, there's gunshots." So I reported it to the police department. They told me they were getting other calls, and police were on their way. So I hung up, and I got on the intercom system. We're a school for the visually impaired. We had about 60 folks that are at our school today, and I announced to stay in the classrooms and lock the doors, and that police were on their way.
Oh, good gracious. You're telling me you have 60 blind people in the school who now are wondering where the gunshots are coming from, and you have to go on lockdown because there is real danger and there is a mass murder happening across the street.
And at that time, Kelly, we did not even know that. At that particular moment, we did not know that there was a mass murder going on. This is 200 feet away from our facility. But there was loud gunfire. It stopped for a moment, and then it started again. And so we locked the doors. Then shortly thereafter, there was people running from the building. 3 of the people came into our facility. We closed the door, locked it again. Of course, they were very shaken and upset. They were in the conference room when this shooting happened. None of these guys were hurt. One of the gentlemen had fallen from running, and he had a couple injuries on his hands. It was a frightening experience.
So was it 3 men who came in?
Yes,
okay,
three people.
And what were the ages of the men who came into your facility escaping?
In their 30s, 40s.
And describe their condition, first of all, before we get to what they said. How did they appear to you?
Shaken.
So
Very shaken.
They come in, and how did they explain what they had just witnessed?
Well, the third guy that came in, he was hiding behind the vehicles parked on the street, so I opened the door and I called out to him, "Do you need to come in here?" And so the 2 guys that were already in the building that came from the shooting scene said, "Yes, we know him." So he came in, and all 3 of them were just, talking to each other, trying to console each other. All 3 of them had been present when the shooting happened.
How did they describe it, Sandy? We've heard so many conflicting reports.
I know. They described somebody dressed in black, with a mask on, an assault rifle, a bulletproof vest, and they weren't sure if it was somebody that was already in the conference room or they had come into the conference room.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think people's memories are jagged when you're struck with an incident like that. So it wasn't really clear what had happened.
Did they tell you what they were doing in the conference room to begin with?
I'm under the impression it was a San Bernardino County seminar conference going on in this meeting room, and that there was about 50 people present.
Because we had heard also that it was a Christmas party. Did these guys say they were at a Christmas party?
No, I did not. None of the 3 said anything about a Christmas party.
So they were there doing business.
I'm understanding it was a seminar, conference training session for San Bernardino County employees.
Any particular kind of employees?
I'm thinking it was from environmental services.
Now, did they say anything? There had been some reports, unconfirmed, that someone was there, became upset, left, and came back, and that's when the shooting occurred. Did they speak to that at all?
No, they did not.
Did they say, and I realize that the shooter or shooters were wearing masks, but did they express any recognition of the killers?
No, because as time was going on and the detectives and the police were there talking to everyone, there was no description. They couldn't tell if it was male or female or any kind of description of the shooter.
Was anything said by the killers?
Not that I heard.
And how did the men describe the victims, the state of the room?
One man told me that he was sitting right next to a girl that got shot. We saw several people look like maybe they were victims in the parking lot across the street after some people were being evacuated. One of my staff members said they thought they saw lifeless bodies being carried away. I never really saw any ambulances from my view, from our building, but apparently there were fatalities.
How did the men get out?
From the conference room where they came from?
Yeah.
I think they just ran out the door and ran across the street.
During the shooting?
Yes.
So
I believe so.
They made a run for it while the shooting was undergoing, while it was underway.
I believe so, Kelly.
I mean, I can't imagine the shock you saw on their faces. I mean, we all go to work every day. We go, we go around our fellow human beings every day. We engage in conferences. We engage in discussions. And to go from a normal moment, one second, to witnessing the people around you getting shot and dying the next.
Yes.
How did you read it on them?
They were shaken. They didn't know what was going on. They fled the scene, and one gentleman used my phone to call his wife. They were absolutely petrified, as was everyone in the lighthouse at this moment. It was really frightening. And then you have a moment and you realize all of our lives could have ended at that very moment. When you start realizing there was a mass murder 200 feet away from our building. And thankfully, we thank the good Lord, all 60 of our staff members and blind students are safe, and no one was injured at the Lighthouse for the Blind.
Thank goodness for that. Last question. Did you hear the man's conversation with his wife? Did you hear how that went?
Yes, he told her he was safe, and there was a shooting, and that he was okay. He was reassuring her. She was a grocery store worker.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sandy Wood. We appreciate you giving us the time tonight. All the best to you.
Kelly, thank you for covering this event, and thank you for your support and bringing this to your audience.
We'll stay on it.